Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Thursday, 30th of October. Hopefully we're all doing good, as always. And we will do a bit of a breakdown. As you can see, I've got, this is the new chart, which will have the indicators for the members. If I just bring over the drawings from this week, you can see how well we have respected the line I put on the chart yesterday, which is that 20% above the monthly ATR. So if we just zoom out, go back to Monday, you can see we traded the monthly average ATR high here. That level was 25,884s. Bear with me. Seeing if there's any messages in the chat. No, we're all good. Yeah, so that level, I'll mark it out as well, but it will show on the screen anyway with the line. So that level, you can see we are about what would be about 350 points above. So it was about 335 points above. And you can see now we're probably getting close to that 10% range, which, again, this is why I've been talking extensively this week about these lines, because I know how well price struggles to get above. So 172. So that would be 10% above. So this line here would be 10% above, right? So even being where we are now is obviously not the most bullish areas, because we're already above, we've already exceeded the monthly expected range. Why don't we short this, Callum? Why don't we short where we are? Well, we can't really take shorts when the daily momentum is still bullish. And the way we can look at that is with the BX trender. So free indicator on TradingView, very good indicator. And you can see we are still green. So until we actually confirm with a bearish or a closed candle, we can't really look at any shorts for my style of trading. And again, we don't miss much, right? We don't miss much. This is an example that you can see here, right? Where was it? Well, so yeah, this is a perfect example of the BX, right? You have consecutive green days. You then turn red, but it's only really until those next 3 or 4 days where you actually get the momentum to the downside. You know, so you're not really, even with a candle like this where you ATR down, the next day it's still an ATR down candle. So even if we have a red day and we do close red, that's fine. But like it's here or there for me. I don't think it's going to be one of those ones where you miss. If it's going to be a huge day to the downside, if anything, that's just going to stack the odds in the favor for it to be a reversal, just like what happened here, right? If it is a massive day down, the short then isn't going to be that easy. So either way, I think it's always best just to wait for that completion of that day. And it just makes trading so much easier for me in terms of staying out of unnecessary trading areas, if that makes sense. So I think personally, we probably obviously we have earnings after the bell tonight with, I think, Apple and maybe Amazon. I'm not too sure. So maybe we get some whipsaw action back up to the highs, but we've traded 130%. So we've traded 30% above what would be average for the month. So we're right back nearly in the middle of that range. Like 15% is probably here or just below. So I know it's been a tricky, boring week, and I have fortunately taken some trades on the overnight session that have paid well. They're not the best trades in the world. Monday or Tuesday's trade, whenever I took it, what day is it? Thursday. It would have been Tuesday's trade, was a decent trade. The trade I took this morning, if anyone's interested, it wasn't really anything overly sexy. And in all fairness, it did come very close to stopping me out. So it's not a trade that I would be, screaming home about really. But all it really was is playing off that 220s from yesterday. So you'll notice yesterday I said that's the 20% above average true range. We traded the 10 and we traded back and forward off this level so many times. Like if I just show you the areas yesterday. We had the overnight highs, traded that on the overnight session as well. So this was RTH overnight session held, 10% held, back above the 20. And then when I zoom, when I go right, you can see here, bounces off that 20 again, bounces off that 20 again. So my trades this morning were really just playing off the fact that we had a huge 2 times ATR, and this was a traditional. So if you look on the extension at midnight, we did trade this 62. It just didn't go to completion, so it just wasn't overly amazing, right? We weren't in a trend really, and all I was really doing is going long in this 220. I actually went long at 226, so I had a worse entry. And then we had the trend line support down here at 207s, which is where I took one additional ad, which gave me a better entry, better average. And then I took off at the negative 100 of this ATR, which is what I put in the room. And you can see 1 high, 2 high, triple top high, 4 high, and then we've sold off. And we've pretty much done the inverse of that move, right? And subsequently started, or have now started, the true trend to the downside. As narrow as that is, it's not a huge deviation in terms of a big gap just yet. I imagine once the new hourly starts, maybe we'll get a different trend. But right now we've had 4 red diamonds in a row, and I don't believe we've seen a red diamond this whole week. On the close we did, on the close on Tuesday, and on the after hours. But on the RTH, we haven't really seen any diamonds. Was this? Yeah, we haven't seen any diamonds on the RTH at all. So just beware of that. 4 red diamonds in the row. They are only medium strength. They're not strong. They're not super strong like what would be a free. Don't know if we've had a free this week. No, we haven't had one. But it would just be a stronger one like down here. So yeah, it's like medium strength bearishness, but again, the daily's still bullish. So our overwhelming consensus is that daily time frame, and the daily is still bullish. It's just hard to construct a bullish thesis on a trade that makes sense on a smaller time frame, because everything else is kind of magnitude's already been hit. Your lower time frames are all technically bearish. So I'm hoping you can see the confusion, or at least the frustration in terms of trying to actually take a trade that makes sense. And like I say, I've taken a couple scalps here and there, but nothing that I would be, overly zealous or proud about. Yeah, they've been okay, but they've definitely not been A+, right? I'd probably put them as like a C-, right? So hopefully you're aware of that and understand the week we've had, and hopefully I've been able to reiterate the importance of these monthly ATRs. In fact, whilst we're on the topic, one for Sam. I spoke about Fubo yesterday, and what's really interesting is we actually came up to the, it was showing on my screen as maybe because we've come down. Let me just go back. Unless the indicators are slightly wrong, but I was almost 95% sure we came up to the monthly high on Fubo, unless I'm mistaken. But that would have been a really good example to show you. On my phone, that was showing as the monthly high, but for whatever reason, it is not on here. But let's have a look. Don't know why they've gone. Let me just go back to this one. Seems to have a timeout error. Let's go back. Yeah, don't know why that's off, Sam, on the... We'll check that in a second. But anyway, hit the monthly high. Just check, Sam, if yours is the monthly high on Fubo. Importance of the monthly highs, right? Fubo gets up on the overnight, on the pre-market, trades its monthly average high that's been there this whole month, and then completely sells off. So again, like, just be aware of how important these monthly levels are, and knowing that we're above it is not super bullish, right? So just wait for a new month to start. If we can take some small scalps here and there, we will, but just be aware they're not going to be A or even B trades, to be honest. They'll be pretty much like grade C's, 5, 4 out of 10s. Anyway, that is all I have. We've got Meta gapping down 10.5%, but then Google gapping up 7.5% due to earnings. So a little bit of a digestion there between those two. Pretty much flat. What are we? 42 basis points on ES, 59 on the NQ. So going to be opening up slightly down, but again, still above ranges. So low expectations remain until we get into November. So I think I've broken that. I think I've beaten that up. I will jump over to Whoop in the trading room. Anyone on YouTube, if you are watching, click the link in the description below, and I